Nestled in a gentle bend of the Walhonding River lies a place the living never truly reclaimed. Roscoe Village on the edge of Coshocton, Ohio, is a postcard of the past. Brick-lined sidewalks, timber-frame shops, and carefully curated history all polished for the curious visitor. But if you stay long enough, when the crowds thin and the costumed interpreters hang up their bonnets for the night, the village begins to breathe differently. There's a chill in the mortar, a whisper in the corners of the empty taverns, a feeling that the town's story never really ended, that it is still being told by those who can no longer speak. Today we take a look at Historic Roscoe Village, a town built on the dreams of early settlers, resurrected by preservationists, and haunted, some say cursed, by the ghosts who were never ready to leave. So if you're curious, let's take a walk through history. Long before its streets carried the echoes of phantom footsteps, the village was alive with the clamor of commerce. In the 1830s, the Ohio Erie Canal carved through the heart of Coshocton County, stitching the region into a vital artery of trade. On August 21, 1830, the first canal boat arrived in what was then known as Caldersburg. In a nod to English abolitionist William Roscoe, the town was renamed Roscoe Village and soon became one of the largest wheat ports on the entire canal system. The village thrived, shops opened, inns bustled, and grain flowed like gold. But like all things bound to water, Roscoe's fate shifted with the current. The rise of the railroad slowly choked the canal's usefulness. Then came the Great Flood of 1913, a merciless torrent that submerged the village and washed away the remnants of its prosperity. Brick buildings sat gutted and silent. Weeds crept through the cracks in forgotten foundations, and Roscoe faded into obscurity, more memory than place. It remained that way until 1968, when industrialist Edward Montgomery and his wife Frances stepped into the quiet ruins and saw a possibility. They envisioned a living museum where people could step back in time, walk the same streets, see the same sights, feel the same pulse that once drove this port town. They brought the village back from the dead, but in doing so, they awakened something else. Ghostly tales abound in this resurrected canal town, from the spectral giggles of children in the local sweet shop well before the store opens for the day, to objects being hurled from the shelving in the basement of Huck's Tavern, where the town's original mortuary stood. But there are two buildings in Roscoe Village where the ghost tales are undeniable, and the stories are rooted in history. One of the first buildings to be restored was an old warehouse, built in 1838 by Arnold and Phoebe Medbery. It had once stored cargo hauled along the canal and served as the post office, a mercantile hub, a place bustling with voices and footsteps, now long silent. In 1969, it reopened as Warehouse Steak and Stein, offering fine dining and warm hospitality within walls that had once echoed with the sounds of industry. But soon the building's charm gave way to whispers. It began with footsteps, heavy, deliberate, heard overhead long after closing. Cold spots drifted through hallways like breaths from an open crypt. Then came the lunch shift. 2 women seated in booth 13 ordered water and a light lunch. Within moments, a sharp scream cut through the clatter of silverware, followed by the shatter of glass. The waitress turned to see the 2 women scrambling from their seats, eyes wide with terror. The glasses, they stammered, they flew off the table by themselves. The women never returned. The booth sat empty for days afterward. And yet it was far from the strangest encounter. A bartender, passing through the tavern one quiet evening, noticed a man in antique clothing striding toward the bar. Thinking him a historical interpreter from the Canal Days Festival, the bartender turned briefly to speak to a colleague. When he turned back, the man was gone. No footsteps, no door creaked open. He had simply vanished. Later, an old, faded photograph surfaced, depicting the building in its former life. And there, unmistakably, was the same man. The same stance, the same eyes, staring not at the camera, but at something or someone only he could see. Recently, a visitor to the old warehouse was exiting the washroom when the light in the hallway burst and a picture was flung off the wall in their direction. Could it be that the spirits here want to be left alone, or is it possible that they desperately want to be noticed by the living? Employees at the Steak and Stein have also spoken of a woman's touch, a gentle hand on the shoulder when no one was nearby, a brush of skirts that weren't there. They call her Phoebe, assuming it must be Phoebe Medbery herself. After all, this was once her building. But there's a problem. There is no record that Phoebe Medbery died here. No evidence she met any tragic end at all. So if the presence isn't hers, then whose is it? The answer may lie across the street in what is now the Medbery Marketplace. In 1848, in the basement of the former hotel, Matilda Wade was washing laundry. Then she disappeared. At first, her absence stirred no alarm. Perhaps she'd gone for a walk through the town. Perhaps she'd stepped upstairs. But then someone found the blood, thick, smeared streaks on the stone floor. The town searched, lanterns in hand, calling her name. It was her husband who found her, or rather, found what was left of her. Down in the dark in the old cistern behind the building, her body lay crumpled, her neck slashed nearly through. The culprit was found quickly. John Gerhardt, a local handyman, had been seen sharpening his axe earlier that day. The blood on his clothes sealed his fate. He pleaded madness. The jury disagreed. He was sentenced to life in prison, but he never served it. Cholera took him within months. Justice, some said. Others called it a curse. And Matilda, she never rested. Visitors to the building often feel a cold draft where no windows stand. They hear footsteps overhead when no one is upstairs. Some claim the basement feels watched, particularly near the place where the cistern once lay hidden beneath the stones. Roscoe Village sells itself as a step back in time, and it is. But the past you walk through here is not inert. It breathes, it shifts, and sometimes it stares back. There are haunted tales in almost every building in town. Tales of customers shopping and feeling an oppressive presence peering over their shoulder, to sounds of footsteps descending the stairs, only to find no one there. Roscoe Village seems to corner the market on spooky tales, and if you're interested on an in-depth tour of the haunts, Black Cat Ghost Tours will take you on a fantastic lantern walk through the town, with tales of history and the paranormal. Roscoe Village's buildings are beautiful, the stories compelling. But in the quiet moments when dust settles over the red bricks and the canal path glows gold in the fading light, something else takes hold. Something older than preservation, more enduring than memory. Not all ghosts are stories, and not all history stays buried. So visit if you dare, take the tour, buy some sweets, walk the same streets the dead once walked. But when the last shop closes, and you find yourself alone by the warehouse or standing near the marketplace, don't be surprised if the hairs on your neck begin to rise. Soon you'll realize you're not alone. You never were. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time as we explore more curious history. Take care.